Hello guys, my name is Will. I'm a general contractor in Tissot, Florida, and owner of Bright Build Construction. So today I want to do something a little different. We're gonna go over some questions I've found on the internet that people ask for professional opinions. Hopefully we can have some fun and learn something new. Let's start with the first one. A home inspector said that they've never seen anything like this. Honestly, I haven't either. So it shows somebody spliced a structural membrane on a roof truss system. So here's the problem with that. Whenever you have to make a cut on any structural support beam for any roofing, that has to be designed by a structural engineer. There's a lot of calculations that go into creating these truss systems, and everything goes into load bearing and bringing all the weight that your roof is putting on into the system to bring it down to the walls and bring it down to the foundation. So that's how everything is calculated. Whenever you cut anything, you're pretty much throwing everything away that the structural engineer designed. You don't want that. You don't want your roof caving in, because here's the funny thing, it won't happen right away. It will eventually start caving in, and then you'll notice leaks and things like that. So you never want to go ahead and change your roof structure or modify it in any way. I was actually part of a project, very special project to me, very nice it ended up, and we had to modify some trusses. So the way that we approached it was a little different. We first of all contacted a structural engineer and decide where we can cut and where we cannot to create a cover sealing system. In this specific house, we did one truss at a time. We added special connectors and we did everything based on plans. This is the right way to do it. You never want to do something, you never want to have anybody tell you, oh yeah, you can cut it here and it's gonna be okay. It's not. In a few years, that person's not gonna answer the phone and you're gonna be in trouble. So yeah, watch out for that. This Reddit user asks, that is worried about the foundation being poured to the contractor. And then he goes on to explain that the foundation was poured and then 24 hours later, they removed the forms. As you can clearly see, there's a crack going right on the corner of the property. Now, there's a few reasons why this is obviously not good. First of all, it's the corner of the house. So in the corners, any structure on the corners gets the most wind, the most pressure, anything goes in the corners. This is why it's called zone 5s instead of zone 4s, hurricane codes. Everything is gonna be sitting on this, specifically on this stem wall. Seems to be a wood construction. So what happens is all the load of the house of the wood construction is going to be sitting on top of this stem wall. If there is any faults or anything on the foundation itself, it doesn't matter how good you build your wood structure, it will collapse and it will fail at some point. So yeah, whenever you see any cracks at this dimension, cracks on concrete, it's okay. Concrete is always gonna crack, but you never want it to crack completely and across like this one is. It seems like somebody's about to take a bite off of it and just come off. So yeah, just watch out for this. Never let this happen to your stem wall. This Reddit user wrote, concrete driveway, it seems like it cracks along the perimeter of the house. So I have an assumption in this case. Whenever a house is being built, you have a footer or a footing in this case that goes in the perimeter of the wall, and then the actual concrete blocks sit on top of that footing. It seems like the cracks go perfectly aligned with the walls, but my assumption is that whoever built the driveway, whoever put it together, they didn't compact it well enough so that when the weight of the concrete starts drying up, if it's not compacted well, it starts sinking. That's what happens when you don't do a right compaction. And also, you gotta use the right material to compact. You can't just dump any kind of dirt and just do whatever you want. You gotta use a specific kind of dirt that's gonna hold up the compaction that you're doing, and it's not just gonna fade away the tension when you put the concrete on top. I think in this case, the actual footing of the house is holding up that corner piece of concrete that is attached to the house, which is why the hairline cracks, or in this case, a little wider than hairline cracks. It's going around the perimeter, like I mentioned. So very important whenever you're doing concrete work, whenever you're doing something, a walkway, it could be anything, a walkway, a driveway, anything that relates to concrete, you want that bottom support to be really well and really tensioned, because that's the only thing gonna be holding it up. You can't just put a lot of weight on something, and if it's not well supported, then you know that it's gonna collapse at some point. So keep an eye on it. Driveways specifically, I see a lot happening with driveways, especially concrete driveways. In this case, this contractor did the control lines, which is great, but then he didn't see the other part of it. But yeah, watch out for compaction and the right use of materials. for this next one, I want to make clear I'm not a structural engineer by any means, but I've seen a lot of decks being put up and I see a lot of work being done. So I can talk of my experience and what I've seen in the field. This Reddit user post, it is okay. And then you can see what seems to be a 4x4. They try to help it by adding a little side pieces, and they ask if this is enough to support the weight of the deck. First of all, they use what it seems like 2x10s, 2x12s going across. The weight of those alone, a 4x4 would definitely not hold that. At least in Florida. I don't know upstate, maybe some other states, some other engineers will agree to that this is okay. But from what I've seen here, at least you have to have one in the corner. I will add one post in the corner and at least two more going to the back. Why? Because there is a lot of dead weight, but there is going to be a lot of live weight. Let me explain a little bit the difference between the two. Dead weight is the actual weight of the structure. So whatever the structural weight, and that is going to be a number that has a specific in kilogram, pounds, or whatever the case. Now, live weight is when people go into it. If you go in bridge designs, everything is rated between, and even buildings, between live and dead weight. Whenever the deck is going to be populated or have people in it doing a party, this is what we call live weight. And then you have a certain rating of how many people can be sitting on top of that deck or on top of that structure. Maybe you've seen some videos online of people, there's a bunch of people partying and having fun, and then all of a sudden the deck collapses. That's what happens when the live weight supersedes what it was rated for. So in this case, structurally, I don't think this is gonna hold up. So if I were you in this case, please fix it. Just get somebody that can do a few posts in there and add a few footings, and then it will be okay. So talk to a structural engineer to get some details, and then come up with your drawings and come up with your designs. So this next post is about concrete as well. In this case, it's about the dirt that they use under the concrete, which is the infill. You compact that and then you put the concrete on top. The user shows a few pictures, and one of them is actually pretty interesting. One of the sides stay almost flush. The dirt itself stay flush with the rebar, the way that they set it. But the other side sank about 5 inches. This is clearly underlayment, or in this case, dirt problems. The dirt that they use is not, it doesn't have the compaction rating that it's supposed to have. So you have to use a certain type of dirt that has to be clean. It has to be compactable, and also it has to be it has to have a rating. Each dirt has a rating, which you have to follow for different practices. For concrete, for pavers, that's why you have paver for sand for pavers specifically, because they're not supposed to hold that much weight compared to concrete. Imagine it this way: concrete is like a big paver that you're sitting on top, and you want that sand to be top solid. In this case, it's clearly it rained, and it showed the faults that the soil has. So again, very, very important. Make sure your underlayment, your infills, everything that's gonna support any type of structure is solid and the rating that it's supposed to have. So this last one is related to windows and doors, kind of my specialty. They post about repair quote, because you can clearly see that there's some damage on the actual wall, or the wall system. I've seen this a lot, especially on wood homes. When the window was installed a long time ago and it started leaking, you don't see it, of course, because all you see is your kitchen or your wall. Everything is happening underneath the drywall and the insulation. Once you start opening up or you do a remodel, that's when you notice any mold, compromised wood structure. So whenever this happens, the right step to do, the right thing to do is remove the wall, remove all the damaged trusses, or in this case, wall systems, whatever it is, remove it out of there. This will fit into continue rotting everything out right next to it. Everything that is right next to it, it will continue rotting out. So you want to remove everything that's there and then put brand new one. And that includes the sheathing on the walls. Here's what a lot of people tend to do, a lot of contractors. They only open on the inside, and they fix from the inside, but they leave the sheathing and the wall on the outside intact. Problem with that is that the actual sheathing, the actual wall plywood is being compromised as well. So eventually, if you remove your wall system from the inside and you don't do the outside wall as well, that wall will start shaking up, will create cracks, and eventually will be even worse. So what you want to do is replace everything inside and out, install everything brand new, and then you have a brand new wall that is going to support your house and support the window as well. In this case, Just find a professional that's willing to actually go in and do the right thing for this kind of projects. And whenever you have routing, you want to open up everything so you can see what's happening behind your walls. So thank you so much for watching this video. Send us a DM, send us a message. Maybe your question shows up in our next video.